first speaker today will be Shri Dushyanth, who will be speaking on the topic Nava-Vidha Bhakti, the Vedic notion of devotion as enunciated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much, Dushyanth Sridharji, for agreeing to speak on this platform. Before I give the floor to you, let me just briefly introduce you to the audience. Shri Dushyanth Sridharji is one of the most sought after public speakers on Sanatana Dharma, who renders discourses in both English and Tamil. He has delivered discourses on Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Purana, Vishnu Purana, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama, Divya Prabandha, and many other texts in Upanyasam, Pravachanam, as well as Kshepam style. He has collaborated with eminent musicians to deliver discourses in Harikatha style and with renowned dancers in the Katha Nritya style. He has conceptualized, scripted and directed large dance productions such as Ramayana Sudha, Srinivasam Prapadye and many others, and including Vedanta Deshika Charitam with leading choreographers. He delivers lectures to corporates and educational institutions besides speaking at renowned conclaves. He has a wide spectrum of audience following on YouTube with 25 million views across 1,000 videos. He has rendered more than 3,000 discourses in 125 cities across 23 countries. And he was conferred many prestigious awards such as Harikatha Bharati title by Bharat Kalachar and Young Achievers Award from Rotary International, Sarvakala Chudamani title by Sri Hayagriva Vidyapitham, Bhagavata Bhaswan Sri Anjan Nambudiri Memorial Award by Mahalingapur Sri Ayyappan Bhakta Sabha, and Sollin Sevan title by the South Indian Bhajana Samaj, and many more. We are very fortunate to have you, sir. Please go ahead and start your session.
Dishantu medeva sadattvadiyaha dayataranga anuchara katakshaha Shrotreshu pumsam amritam ksharantim saraswatim samshrita kamadhenum Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amritadrava sanyutam Pibata bhagavata rasamalayam muhuraho rasikaha bhuvi bhavukaha Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. My obeisances to all the astikas, rasikas, bhagavatottamas who are an integral part of this symposium, so very well coordinated and organized by INDICA. I am indebted to the organizers for calling me in such beautiful hours of this Sunday morning to be a part of the symposium. The topic that I have been bestowed with is the Nava-Vidha Bhakti, as we see in Srimad Bhagavatam. When we speak of Bhakti, there are two aspects to it. Bhagavad Ramanujacharya invokes Bhakti in his commentary to the Brahma Sutras called Sri Bhashyam, and later in his commentary to Srimad Bhagavad Gita called as Gita Bhashyam, quickly followed by a beautiful gloss titled Tatparya Chandrika as enunciated by Swami Sri Vedanta Deshika in a different way. The bhakti that he talks about while dealing with Brahma Sutras and Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, the Prasthanatrayam, is bhakti yoga. There he says, Bhaktischa Jnana Viseshaha. Bhakti as seen in the form of bhakti yoga or sadhana or upasana is that which has karma yogam and jnana yogam as the angam. Bhakti yoga, as seen in Vedanta Sutras, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, is that which has Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam as its Angam, as its wheels, and Bhakti Yogam becomes the vehicle. There he splits Bhakti Yogam in 3 levels: Parabhakti, Parajnana, and Paramabhakti. And this is what he says, as seen in the Brahma-Vidya, which will take the Jivatma from this gross state, from Sthula Shariram, and then it adopts a Sukshma Shariram, and then traverses the path where it crosses the lokams mentioned in Subalopanishad and reaches that particular abode from which there is no return. Nasapunara vartate, and then there is Sayujyam, Salokyam, Samipyam, Sarupyam. So that is the moksham that he talks about there. Whereas for that Bhakti Yogam to fructify at the very basic level, my understanding of Bhakti with Paramatma should be pristine. For which one of the Puranas, which is Bhakti laden, Bhakti based, and is also popular among the Bhagavatas, is Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. This we all know was an outpouring of Shuka Brahmam, the son of Vyasa, when he himself came on his own accord, when Parikshit was cursed that he shall be dying on the 7th day by the bite of the snake of a virulent poison called as Takshaka. So when he reaches to that spot on his own accord, Parikshit asks a simple question. Sir, I have heard that I was the one who was protected in my mother's womb, while Drona's son, Ashwathama, aimed at the Apandavastram. Draunasya viplushtamidam madangam santana bijam kurupandavana jugopa kukshim gatiyata chakraha matuschameta sharanam gatayaha, he says. So when my mother was housing me and I was to be killed by the Apandavastra Prayogam by Ashwathama, the son of Drona, I have heard that Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, protected me by going around me, due to which even I got the name Parikshit. Can you please tell me something about him? In the due course of telling Sri Krishna Avataram, he begins about Srishti, about Vidura's questions, about Dakshayajnam, Pruthucharitram, Vena Charitram, and then goes on to explain the Avatara Prakatanam of Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vamana, Parashurama, then all these avatars, and finally lands up at Krishna Charitram in the Dashamaskandam. So this is the book of contents that we see of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Saptamaskandam, in the 7th canto, Parikshit poses a question. Samahpriya Suhrid Brahman Lokanam Abhayankaraha Avivevamsha Bhagena. I would love to hear the charitram of that person. He should have asked, but he doesn't say so. He says, I have heard that Paramatma is equal to all. In case he treats everybody equally, there is no disparity in the way he treats the Jivatmas, then why should he be treating Hiranyakashipu in one manner and should be showering love on Prahlada, who's another Jivatma, in another manner? Doesn't this show disparity? Samahpriya Suhrid Brahman. So that is when Shuka Brahmam, out of sheer mercy, Anukampa, on Parikshit, starts narrating Nrsimhavataram. While it is Nrsimhavataram, the Antargata Vishayam is Prahlada Charitram should also be told. This little boy Prahlada, he is being tutored by the sons of Shukracharya called Shanda and Amarka. Upon his return from the tutelage, the father asks him, what have you learnt in your school? For which the boy answers, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, Iti Pumsarpitar Vishnor Bhaktische Navalakshana. My dear father, I have understood and learnt about the 9 characteristics of Bhakti, which is Shravanam, listening, kirtanam, singing what you have listened, Vishnoho smaranam, remembering which is a result of listening and reciting, pada sevanam, to do worship at the feet of the Lord, archanam, to do stuti of him through the process of archana, dasyam, to be subservient to him, sakhyam, archanam, vandanam, dasyam, sakhyam, atmanivedanam. Then he also says sakhyam, good friendship, atmanivedanam, to submitting the jivatma at the feet of Paramatma. So there are 9 characteristics that he talks of. So in this particular lecture, in the given time, I shall quickly go through the sankshepam of all these 9 characteristics as enunciated by Prahlada to his father. Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam stands tall only next to Vishnu Puranam in the Purana Prakatanam, because be it the Advaita Siddhantam, Visishtadvaita Siddhantam or Dvaita Siddhantam, most of the Acharyas, be it Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada in his commentary to the Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and later Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam, and similarly Ramanuja and Madhvacharya, always invoke Vishnu Puranam as the most important Puranam. It is, if they say Puranam says, without even mentioning which Puranam, it simply means it is Sri Vishnu Puranam. So, Vishnu Puranam being that important with exquisite commentaries, we shall now go to Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam, where this shloka is cited, which also has beautiful commentaries, such as Sridhariyam, we have Vijayadhwaja's commentary, we have Veeraraghava's commentary. So with such commentaries here, I will explain what these 9 characteristics are. Shravanam, passionate listening. In fact, this has been concurred by the mystic poetess Andal too. Ketpadu, Shravanam, to listen. So when listening comes, who has listened the most? Is it Parikshit who has listened to Bhagavatam from Shukha Brahmam? Is it Maitreya who has listened to Vishnu Puranam from Parashara? Is it Arjuna who has listened to Bhagavad Gita from Krishna? Is it Janamejaya who has listened to Mahabharatam from Vaishampayana? Is it Narada who has listened to the answers to the questions posed by him from Valmiki? Who is the one who has listened? While all of them have listened, we need to understand if the Lord also practices what he preaches. So, we must understand that the Lord too has listened. In Srimad Ramayanam, in Balakandam, when Vishwamitra comes and seeks Rama's intervention, he says, Aham vedmi mahatmanam ramam satya parakramam kakapaksha-dharam veeram jeshtham me datumarhasi swaputram rajashardulam ramam satya parakramam. Give me your son who has hair strands that get curled near the temple locks, that kakapaksham, give that person to me. While Dasharatha initially resists, with Vasishthopi Mahatejaha Yeche me tapasi sthitaha, with Vasishtha's intervention, he sends his son Rama along with Lakshmana, with Vishwamitra, in a sojourn to the forest, during the killing of Tataka, during the killing of Subahu, during the driving away of Maricha, during the emancipation or the Vimochanam to the Shapam given by Gautama to Ahalya, and to his entry to Mithila Nagaram, Vishwamitra has narrated 9 stories to Rama, be it Bhagiratha Charitram, which is Ganga Utpatti. After Gangotpatti, he describes the killing of Vritra by Indra, thereby he acquiring Shapam. He talks about Kumara Sambhavam, the birth of Kartikeya. So all these Prakatanams are described. So he has heard 9 different forms of story. So it is the Lord himself who practices what he preaches, which means he himself listens. So listening, Shravanam, becomes very important. But you should understand, Nava in Sanskritam means 9. So Nava-Vidha is 9 different characteristics of Bhakti. Let us now go to Ramayanam. Rama too has listened from the mouth of Vishwamitra. So Vedanta Deshika says, Kushika Sutta Kathita Vidita Nava-Vividha Katha. Kushika Sutta has narrated 9 different forms of story. That is one meaning. The other meaning for Nava is new, contemporary. Pura api Navam Puranam. That which is old yet narrated in a modern or a contemporary fashion is Puranam. That which is relatable and comprehensible to us in this age is Puranam. So Nava also means modern. Thereby, Nava-Vidha Bhakti is the right way or the contemporary way of understanding Bhakti too. Nevertheless, the first characteristic is Shravanam, which is passionate listening, for which, besides the many Bhagavatottamas who become standing and exemplary examples, the Lord himself becomes an example. Drishtantam, the best example, is Rama listening from Vishwamitra, the Brahma Rishi, in Balakandam of Srimad Ramayanam. Shravanam. Second is Kirtanam, to sing. All the acharyas who adorn the bhakti movement, be it Rupa Pahata Lotsani of the Abhang of Nyandev, to Tukaram, to Eknath, and as we come to the Dasa Parampara of the Kannada tradition, we have Kanakadasa, Vijaya Vitthaladasa, we have Purandaradasa. Then we go till Annamacharya and Kshetraya and Bhadrachala Ramadas of the Andhra Desham. We come to Iriyamantambi Swati Tirunal of the Malayala Desham. We come to Papanasam Shivan, Tyagarajar, Muthuswami Dikshita, Shama Shastri, Arunachala Kavi, Muttutandavar, Marimutta Pillai of the Tamil tradition, Jayadeva of the Ashtapadi, Surdas, Mirabai of the Bhajan tradition. They were all exemplary examples, standing examples to tell how one must sing what they have heard, which is Kirtanam. So Andal, the mystic poetess, too concurs with this. Vayinal Padi, Manattinal Sindika. Vayinal Padi, sing. Kirtanam. That is why, related to Kirtanam is why the Shat Prashni is asked by Yudhishthira. Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Kimba Pekam Parayanam. Whom will I reach? Stuvantah Kam. Whom should I do stuti of? Kam Archantaha. Whom should I do archana of? Prapnayur Manavaha Shubham. Bodharmas Sarvadharmanam Bhavatah Paramomataha. Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur. Parashara Bhatta, the famed commentator to Vishnu Sahasranamam, in his commentary called Bhagavad Guna Darpanam, cites Japan as Salambanopayam and says that Kirtanam is very important. So the second characteristic feature, which is Kirtanam, to sing or praise the Lord from one's mouth is very important. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Next is Vishnoho Smaranam, to think of the Lord. So Smaranam is remembrance, for which Bhagavad Ramanuja in Sribhashyam says, Dhruva Smritihi, Taila Dharavat Avichinna Smriti Santana Rupa Dhruva Smritihi. Remembrance should be like Dhruva Smriti, which is continuous remembrance, because Dhruva had asked the Lord that remembrance should be called after him. So it's called Dhruva Smriti. Second, it should be continuous. How continuous? How uninterrupted should it be? Like the flow of oil. Unlike the flow of water, the flow of oil is uninterrupted. So it is Taila Dharavat Avichinna Smriti Santana Rupa. So remembrance must be uninterrupted like oil. But whose remembrance should it be? Here Bhagavatam is very clear. Vishnoho Smaranam. Even Appaya Dikshita in his commentary to Ananda Lahari cites that Narayana Shabdam, based on the references in the Puranas, is that which has nothing which is equal or greater than it. There is a shlokam, Atmaikyam, Daivataikyam, Trikasamadhikatas, Tulyataikyam Trayanam, Anyataishwaryam Ityadhyani Nupuna Panitir, Adriyantena Santaha, Trayantai, Ekakantaihi, Tadanuguna Manuvyasa Muktoptibhischa, Shriman Narayanona, Patirakilatanuhu, Muktidaha, Muktabhogyaha. Even His Holiness of Sringeri Matham or Kanchi Peetham in Advaita Siddhantam to conclude their Anugraha Bhashanam with Narayana Smriti. So here Prahlada says, Vishnoho Smaranam. Next, Pada Sevanam, to always do worship at his feet. Now, when it is mentioned at his feet, our commentators have said it must be extended to the feet of the devotees of the Lord, Bhagavatottamas. So, Pada Sevanam, not just of the Lord, of his devotees, which is called as Purushartha Kashtha, which is the limit of God's bhakti or divine bhakti to Bhagavad bhakti, is Bhagavata bhakti. That is why in Srimad Ramayanam, Bhagavan Swayam Rama to Christ. Devotees to Rama, the Bhagavatas of Rama, Bharata and Lakshmana also cry. But the devotee of Bharata, that is Bhagavan's devotee, Bharata's devotee, whose Shatrughna, never cries. Because if you're the devotee to the devotees, you shall never face problems. Bhagavata bhakti is more important than Bhagavad bhakti. Do we have an example that exemplifies this? Yes. During the Rajasuya Yajnam in Sri Mahabharatam, while Yudhishthira is in the process of assigning one duty to each of his brothers, Krishna, the king of Dwaraka, Dwarakadisha comes and says, I shall too help you in the process. For which Yudhishthira says, you have the right to pick and choose what you wish to do, Krishna. Then Krishna says, there will be people who shall be living as per the quintessence of the Vedic teachings, and they shall be coming to your Sabha Mantapam to recite the Vedic hymns. To those Vaidikas, I shall do washing of their feet. Shripada Tirtham Seva, I shall do. So the Lord himself becomes a befitting example for Pada Sevanam. Next is Archanam. Archana is the simple process of venerating the Lord and paying obeisances to him, doing salutations to him by invoking the names as mentioned by our Purvacharyas. Why is Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam important? Because Vishnu Sahasranamam says, I am not creating names of the Lord. Vishwam Vishnuho Vashatkaraha Bhutabhavya Bhavat Prabhu. These are not the names that Bhishmacharya invented. He says, Rishibhiv Parigitani Tani Vakshyami Bhutaye. I am just compiling and collating the names of the Lord as venerated by the rishis. So those names were in the vogue, but I'm just collating it. Even Parashara Bhatta says, while describing the essence of Vishnu Sahasranamam, Mahabharata Saratvat Rishibhiv Pariganataha Vedacharya Samahara Bhishmotkrishtamatattvataha. So these names were already there and they were compiled. Thereby, our Archana through the Agama process or through the mundane worship that we do in our home should be through the Ashtottara Shatanamavali as provided by our Purvacharyas. Be it Prakriti Namaha, Vikriti Namaha, Vidyaye Namaha, Sarvabhuta Hita Pradaye Namaha, Shraddhaye Namaha, Vache Namaha, Paramatmikaye Namaha, Swadhaye Namaha, Swahaye Namaha of Lakshmi Ashtotram. Because these are all very old Ashtotrams which have been invoked in the commentaries of our Purvacharyas. So Archana must always be in accordance with our Purvacharya tradition. Archanam, Vandanam. Vandanam is putting your palms together, and putting your palms together before Paramatma is also one of the signs of Sharanagati. The unconditional surrender which the Jivatma does at the lotus feet of the Paramatma is also characterized by Vandanam. This is called Anjali Mudra. In fact, Vedanta Deshika, the 13th century polymath, has given a work called as Anjali Vaibhavam, where he describes what is the importance of this Mudra Vandanam. Anjalim Parama Mudra Kshipram Deva Prasadini. That posture which will invoke the mercy of the Lord instantaneously is Anjali. Amjalayatiti Anjalihi. Because when I do this mudra without the mamakaran in me telling that this Jivatma belongs to Paramatma, then the Paramatma, it seems, will start shedding tears because he feels, why is this dear Jivatma, who is as important as the Kaustubha to me, Vishnu Puranam states, why should he be putting these palms before me? I will take him. Why should he request me? Is he not my so dear friend? So this mudra bias invokes the blessings and the mercy of the Lord where the water flows down his cheeks. Since the water flows down his cheeks, this mudra is called Amjalayatiti Anjali. So this Anjali is an important feature of Vandanam. So this Vandanam, where do we get an example for this? In Sri Mahabharatam, when Bhagadatta, the son of Narakasura, who was fighting on the side of the Kauravas, was raising the Narayanastram, then Arjuna mentions to Krishna, hey Krishna, I know of Brahmastram and Pashupatastram, but I do not know if there is a Pratyastram, if there is something which can go equally to Narayanastram. Krishna tells, I did a grave mistake by telling you Bhagavad Gita. All this while in Bhagavad Gita, I was telling you that there is no equal to Narayana. Only if there is an equal to Narayana will there be an equal astram to Narayana astram. Then Arjuna asked, what should I do? There is only one way in which Narayana or Narayanastram can go back, or they can be defeated. What is it? Arjuna asked. Put your palms together before the astram and do vandanam to it. The moment you do this, it is Sharanagati. To a Sharanagata, the astra will not do anything, it will go back. And Arjuna does this. So, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, to think that I'm subservient to the Lord. Paramatma is Swatantra and Jivatma is Paratantra. This bhavam of the Jivatma becoming subservient to the Lord and understanding the Nava-Vidha sambandham to the Paramatma is called as Dasyam. Then we have Sakhyam, which is friendship, treating the Paramatma as the friend. So when there is friendship, there is no question of seeking something from the friend. This concept of Sakhyam was enunciated by the Gopika Stris through Kamarasam. In fact, there is a shlokam in the same Saptamaskandam, Gopyaha Kaman Bhayat Kamsaha Dveshat Chaidyo Dayo Nripaha Sambandhat Vishnaya Snehat Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. So at that point in time, the Sakhyam is invoked. Sakhyam is friendship. So be it the Gopika Stris during the times of Sri Krishna Avataram, or Guha of Shringiverapuram, Sugriva of Kishkinda, and Vibhishana of Ravana Rajyam, Ishadanam Neta, Kapikulapati, Kapi Shabari, Kuchela Kubjasa, Prajayuvatayoho, Malya Kridati, Amisham, Nimnatvam, Rishagiripater, Unnatimapi is a reference. So all these are standing examples for Sakhyam of the Jivatma with the Paramatma. Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, to submit one's Atma. For this, there are beautiful shlokas. In Sri Vishnu Puranam, when Krishna in the 5th Amsham plays the flute, listening to the nadam that is emanating from the flute, there is a lady called Chintayanti who wants to leave the house and go listen to the music in person. When her in-laws stop, she then realizes that she cannot step out from the house. That time, by listening to the nadam emanating from the flute, through the anandam that she enjoys, she relinquishes her punyam. But with the little sorrow that she is not able to listen to the nadam and see Krishna in person, she relinquishes her papam. The moment she does relinquish punyam and papam, at that very instant, she gets moksham. Chintayanti Jagatsutyam Parabrahma Swarupini, says Parashara in Vishnu Purana. So be it Chintayanti, be it the Phalavikrakanya of Krishna Avataram, be it Shabari, who through Acharya Kataksham got moksham, be it Jatayu, Gachalokan Anuttaman, they are all standing examples of Atmanivedanam. So these are the 9 characteristics as enunciated in Srimad Bhagavatam of Bhakti. We should also understand that Nava-Vidha Bhakti means new form of Bhakti, contemporary form of Bhakti. What is that contemporary form of Bhakti? Even if we are distances apart, on a lighter vein, Zoom is bringing us together. So this is the 10th tool that is able to engage us. Isn't this new? Isn't this contemporary? So Nava-Vidha Bhakti means to also get connected through such symposiums organized by INDICA. I'm very thankful to Sri Nitin Sridhar, Kavitarkika Simhaya, Kalyana Gunashaline, Srimate Venkateshaya, Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Dushyanth ji. Wonderful presentation on Nava-Vidha Bhakti. Especially the contemporary part is very relevant. Harikiran ji, do you have some comments?
I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Dushyanth ji. Viewers, now after this very mesmerizing presentation on Nava-Vidha Bhakti, wherein Dushyanth ji quoted from Bhagavatam to Ramayana and highlighted the different aspects, different types of Bhakti, Shravanam, etc.